What happens when you no longer want to be a victim? So you stop blaming everybody else for all your problems. That's when you grow the heck up. This is Last Year's Artist. I'm Bindi Kolchoka, and you're watching the Brain Dump series. I can't remember when I had the exact revelation that I was actually a victim, that I was using my past and my intersectional identity and identity politics to blame everyone and everything else for all my problems instead of taking any responsibility for myself. It was definitely a part of my Christian conversion experience. As I learned more about Jesus and Christianity and the Bible and Christian history, I realized that I could no longer remain as a victim. There was no victim identity in Christianity. None whatsoever. There was no one to blame for all of your past and present decisions and behavior. You had to take responsibility for all of your poor choices. And this grated against my intersectional identity. It didn't allow me to blame anyone or anything. I could no longer say that how I was behaving was not my fault. I could no longer say that I would only change if you came and changed me. When you live as a victim, you are entirely beholden, like an enslavement, to the people and experiences that you are being a victim to. It's like you go, well, I can't fix this, you have to fix this, and I won't change until you come in and change it. And it completely allows you to perpetrate all sorts of terrible behaviors and actions on other people while justifying it because of the victim mentality that you have. Sometimes it's even generational. The trauma that you're being a victim to didn't even happen to you. There are many, many communities across the world that are living with this mentality right now, that are saying that we're all so broken, but we're not going to fix this. You have to come and fix this. The only way anything's ever going to get fixed is if that community or that individual takes responsibility for it themselves. Even if what happened to you wasn't your fault and you're entirely justified in being hurt or seeking justice for what happened, you still have to, as an adult, take personal responsibility for your life. When you come out of your victim mentality, your life becomes so much freer, and your identity is no longer defined by the traumas and the problems that you've experienced or you've taken on board. In fact, your identity becomes defined by much higher moral and philosophical ideas, which are so much more interesting and satisfying. For me, the Bible and my Christianity has been so key in terms of coming out of my victim mentality, because the message of the Bible is that we are all perpetrators. We have all done something wrong. No one is exempt. We are all wretches. And when you start from that position, that we are all perpetrators, it means that we then approach life and others with so much more grace. Like we're all in this together. Other people can make mistakes, they can fall down, they can get up, and there's so much less judgment because you understand that you do the same thing. When you stop being a victim and realize that you are actually the perpetrator, whether that's in little ways, like little lies, fudging little things here and there, gossiping, judging people, or really big ways, great big deceptions, really hurting people deeply, profoundly, whatever it is, when you realize that you're the perpetrator, then you realize that you require forgiveness. And then through Christianity, when you receive forgiveness, you feel so free and you step completely out of this victim mentality, and then you begin operating from a place where you start to see others through eyes of grace and eyes of forgiveness. You develop a much softer lens that you view people through. You're no longer in the victim space. You're more in this kind of we're all in this together space. You begin to see people as though they're morally ambiguous, that in fact we're all capable of good and evil, every single one of us. As opposed to constantly viewing people as separate, as one side being the oppressor and the other side being the victim or the oppressed. This does no one any good, because we are all the oppressor and the oppressed. What this does too is it gets rid of virtue signaling, which is like a moral posturing that says, I'm better than you because I clearly care more than you do about this thing, and in fact you're quite ignorant about it. Yet at the same time you're saying, I care about it and you don't, but I'm not going to fix it. You have to fix it because it's your fault. So nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever gets done because you're not willing to make the sacrifice for it, because it's just virtue signaling. The idea that we are all victims and perpetrators, or that we are all wretches, is the best starting point for us to live our lives from. Jesus said it perfectly when he said, let those who are without sin throw the first stone. And don't think that Christians are perfect. We're wretches. We are all wretches. We're making mistakes and getting it wrong all the time. The difference is that within our Christian community, we show grace to each other. We've moved away from this trying to live life from a legalistic perspective where we're constantly calling out everybody for what they're doing wrong. And this needs to become a more broader attitude amongst our Australian and global community. We need to stop judging people and start looking at people through the eyes of grace and allowing people to make mistakes and fall down and get up, and allowing them to do that over and over and over again, however many times it takes, because I need that. I need that. If we can start from that point, we can still celebrate all the intersectional parts of us, racial and cultural parts of us. We can celebrate those things. They just don't have to define us. The first step to coming out of your victim mentality is changing the way you see yourself. Start seeing yourself as a wretch and a perpetrator and not just the victim, because we all know that's what we are. And then ask for forgiveness, because that's what will truly set you free.